Welcome, everybody, and welcome all to Lions Nation Unite. I am Spencer Axter. He's Easy with the Woodward Heavyweights, and of course, Herman Moore and CZ in the house. You see, this is all we need right here. This is all we need right here. Go get yours at LionsNationUnite.com. The Packers suck.
They're really butthurt too from that knee that Jared Goff took.
Yes, that's amazing.
It's crazy. It's like somebody went to Wisconsin and burned down the biggest dairy farm in town because they're the way they're crashing out right now is insane. I don't. Did they lose their cheese? Like, what's going on over there?
Oh my god!
How did that guy get a cheese grater into Ford Field?
I love it. I'm here for it.
You know, he had to put that and then sneak it in there. Like, what's that up against? Get into the field.
I'm thinking about that because I'm going. You know what? He's shredding it everywhere. I'm like, where is that going? Like, does he have something laid down where they're catching that?
He definitely did it. And the other gross part too is he had to sneak the cheese in. Where'd you sneak this stuff in, bud?
I don't know how they got that stuff in there, man.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Keitho, Detroit Grit, Brent DeWitt, Mile Marker, everybody, all the originals in there. And we're going to break down this game. Obviously, it was a great performance by the Detroit Lions to get this win at home with a decimated defense. You had 13 players just on defense on IR. But Herman, I want to ask you first. This guy, Dan Campbell, we saw the picture that Brent DeWitt has for his little avatar there. Dan Campbell has the biggest nuts in the NFL, and he believes in his team. He believes in his players. What does it mean for these players when they know Dan Campbell believes in them enough to always go for it on fourth down?
Well, I'm not going to say whether or not I know anything about this man's genitalia, but I will say this. I will say this. Does he have his team and the organization behind him and the fan base behind him? Yeah, because think about this on fourth down inside of your territory. Anybody that goes for it and does some of the things that Dan Campbell has done over the years and define himself as the what type of coach he's going to be and what type of culture he's going to establish. You can't, there's no one's on the threads going, I wouldn't have gone for it. I wouldn't have done this. I don't understand. We all were sitting there going, what in the, but at the same time, it is what it is, right? Because that's you're going to ride or die. Like, that's the true meaning of if you are a loyal fan. That's the true meaning if you're behind your head coach as an organization, as a team. And then, that's you basically saying, we gonna do what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? And everybody, if you with us, you with us. If you're not, then get the hell out of the car. Right? That's basically the way it is.
And the city's with them. They're 12-1.
Oh, the country's 12-1. Come on, man. Listen, Spence, Ease, CZ, man.
I know.
The country, like I'm telling you, I get people calling me from all over, and they're telling me congratulations. And I'm like, thank you. Appreciate it.
I got friends that are out of state, and they're just like, the Lions are just the darlings of the NFL. I'm like, yeah.
You've got the Packers fans complaining that the refs jobbed them. Yeah. The Packers fans are saying, oh, there was a ref show. The refs are they're becoming everything they hated.
Yeah, I shared the photo. There's a photo of a referee and Dave Montgomery, like exchanging jerseys. Somebody did the Photoshop on that one. Honestly, I'm proud of that because a long time ago, it was me sharing that. I was a sore loser blaming officials and referees instead of, just admitting we got our butts kicked a little bit. It's not like the referee is Brian Branch screaming down the field and smacking Josh Jacobs on his bum. Like, that's not this. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. The fans are looking at us like that. That means we're doing something right. I'm be real with you.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome thing, man. And I will say this again. I know, Spence, you said it earlier on. I want to welcome everybody in. We appreciate you coming here. We're on a Saturday. I want to say what's up, to everybody that came in. Detroit Grit, what up? What up, homie? Keitho, Mile Marker. I know we've mentioned some of those. Kurt, it's good to see you on
Kurt.
And I love the fact that also we got, Mile Marker 301, Michigan, Northern Michigan rocks the Lions. I used to go up there. And it was Packers, it was Bears, and you might get a little sprinkled Lions up in there. You know what I mean? Even if you go as far west as Grand Rapids. And now, man, just seeing how everyone really gets it and they're on it. And I remember when the Pistons went through their run, and I wasn't a huge basketball fan until the playoffs like everybody else. But, man, when they started going in, and the buzz that was around that, the buzz that's around the Red Wings and Tigers when they've won, championships, man, it is due time. And we're not there yet, but damn it, we're going to express our happiness along the way. So welcome to Lions Nation.
Lions Nation Unite. We need to make that. It's got to be Herman as Captain America when he gets the Mjolnir. Is Lions Nation Unite instead of Avengers Assemble. But we're not going to go off on the superhero tangent again like we did last time. But let's talk about this game. Let's talk about these Detroit Lions. And the first thing that I want to talk about is this defense and what they're doing with who they lost. Herman, 13 players from this defense are on IR, and they're just business as usual.
Yeah, they are. And again, how do you? I'm trying to think of how do you. They're breaking all the things that we've known that sink teams. Right? They've gotten away from disruption. They've gotten away from players and coaches and the bickering that takes place. They've gotten away from players like your superstars being upset and slamming helmets and kicking things over because they're not part of the program and they're not part of the environment or excitement. They're doing their part, the unselfishness. And then now you got players going down and no one mopes. No one mopes. They pick up the pieces. They come in and they expect, not hoping, they're expecting that every player on this roster is capable and competent enough to deliver for the next person if they come in or out of that game. Man, come on. This is amazing. And I'm telling you, Coach Campbell, Brad Holmes, Lions organization, they have changed, and the players and the way they've treated this locker room, they have changed the way you build a team, and they're going to be the example. I guarantee you. Look at 2025 when you see teams starting to rebuild. And I'm going to get back to what we were talking about on the defense, but man, I'm just telling you, you can't ignore to get to what's happening on defense when you have 13 players that are injured and you don't lose that much. I mean, yeah, there's some exposure. Yeah, there's some effectiveness that you lose, but for the most part, you're not losing what's most important, and that is confidence and effort. That is confidence and effort. So that's what I see that's happening. 13 go down, 14 go down. We'll figure it out.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Devin Davis, Kurt Steele shouting out. Make sure you subscribe to Lions Nation Unite on YouTube. Smash the like button. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We got Facebook. Our Facebook pops off, so make sure you go show some love out there. But easy, like Herman just said, you got 13 guys down, and this coaching staff, this defensive philosophy hasn't wavered. It hasn't changed. You on the Woodward Heavyweights were holding the flag of house patience for Aaron Glenn, and it's now you're seeing the fruits of his labors. What has Aaron Glenn done so well this year?
To be honest, man, like I first and foremost defend the Glenn. All right, house patience, everyone that's rocking with me and be patient there, Glenn. Look at us now, baby. You know what I'm saying? Just look at us now. But real quick, I think he's finally got guys, not just in the roster sense, but like in the coaching staff too. Talking about Deshae Townsend, the DB's coach. Obviously, Calvin Sharp's been there the longest as the linebacker coach, but then also Terrell Williams as the defensive line coach. I think those guys are also in the belief of his philosophy. And I think that helps everybody preach down like that message or like what that true philosophy is, no matter who's in their room. He's just, hey, this is our job in the defensive line. That's all we're worrying about. I know you came in here and the last minute, like this week, that's okay. These are the 4 things that our foundation believes that we need you to do and execute on your end, and it's happening. And in the secondary, same thing to Deshae Townsend, getting Kendall Vildor in or Khalil Dorsey. Hey, don't worry about anything else. This is what we're doing. This is a part of the job that we need to execute to have a functional defense. We're not going to be out there like the 80 Bears or the Legion of Boom or anything like that. But this is what we need to do to be successful, and everyone's bought in. And so it's kudos to AG and kudos to Dan Campbell for grabbing those guys that believe in his philosophy and foundation so they can preach it then on, because now we're seeing the fruits of that labor. Because at first, Spinny, you and I were saying, listen, he's trying to make a salad with spoiled vegetables. But he's making a salad with spoiled vegetables as we speak. We lost a lot of the fresh fruits. So it's just, I think with the coaching staff, they bought into what AG believes in, and therefore the players have bought in. And he said something this week too. It's kind of profound. He was like, look, I go to a game with 4 or 5 plays. But if my guys are executing those 4 to 5 plays with pursuit and passion, we're going to be successful. And I think that's what we're witnessing right now. It's not like it's a otherworldly defense, but it's definitely been better than the defenses we saw in the past with starters out there. These are practice squad guys.
And Easy brought it up, Herman. When you look at the position coaches like Terrell Williams, like Deshae Townsend, like Kelvin Shepard, how important are those guys when it comes to making sure new guys you bring in, whether it be Quan Alexander coming in here last week and getting the start on Thursday against Green Bay, to make sure they're issued into the system? How important are those player coaches?
Well, the player coaches are important because that, what you get out of that is they're simplifying the process when you first come in. You think about it when players typically come in and they're brought in for a specific reason, especially during season. That is to fill a gap. It's either to give depth or you're coming out and they're asking you to actually make plays. Here, they're asking you to take on a task, and then they explain what that task or that job description is. It's just like when you go to work, they go, hey, we're not asking you to build the whole car. We're asking you to just handle the parts with the brakes, and here's how it's done. And then they shorten the process and the time that it takes to get that person onboarded, to get them ready and prepared to do that task at the best of their ability, because they've already evaluated that they do that. So now when you have those player coaches and you have the actual coaches that come in and they're all supporting and leaning in on that, now you also have on-the-job training. You have people out there who also are going to help you make sure that, if you have any questions or things are happening in that short period of time in between plays, you're able to get people back kind of dialed in and you're able to help relay them. So I think the process, like I said before, man, this has been a masterpiece in which it has been put in place. There's been some thoughtfulness there, and there has been an ability to make sure that when they bring in players, they get the effectiveness of whatever the capabilities of that player is. And that doesn't mean they're bringing them in to be world beaters. And that's why we're seeing the results from the players that they bring in right away. Normally, what they say, it's going to be 3-4 weeks before that player gets acclimated to the system and understands the playbook and all this. No, they're saying, listen, don't understand. We don't need you to understand the whole playbook. We need you to understand your position. And in doing that, we will be successful. You will be successful, and you will always be hitting in the 90+ percentile of your ability. Beautiful.
And again, shout out to everybody in the chat thread. You got Arf, Danny G, K ain't pressed. Arf in the Woodward Sports chat said someone yesterday called the defense the Legion of Whom instead of the Legion of Boom. The Legion of Whom, because you got guys coming off the bet. We talked about it on the Woodward Heavyweights yesterday. You already have Netflix on this team, and Craig Reynolds, he's dubbed Netflix. We're going to have to start calling guys Hulu and Max and whoever, because they're just coming off the bench and playing and performing. It's so impressive to see them go out there and consistently get good performances from guys coming off their couch.
The Fords made the assembly line. Now they're making the disassembly line, because the defense, like you said, they're doing their part of it down the line. Hey, this is your job right here as a defensive lineman. This is your job as a linebacker. This is your job as a safety. It's pretty dope. Here's Tim Patrick.
There's your guy. Yeah, Herman, I need to hear from you about Tim Patrick. He's the big body X receiver they brought in. You saw him getting more and more comfortable the past couple games with Jared Goff. The connection looked good, and it looked real good against the Packers. 2 touchdowns. Hey, Green Bay, Tim Patrick's your daddy now. Herman, what does it mean for Tim Patrick to walk in there and do something like that against the Packers?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. When I mentioned this before, and it wasn't that they're not capable of getting things done with the other receivers, but I think when you bring in all the dynamics that are needed, you need players who can make certain catches in traffic. They provide a matchup problem because of their size. Because if you look at the 5'10" to 6'1" corners that are in the NFL now, if you can find that dominant big guy, when you get into the red zone, it's a tough player to defend. And even if you play one-on-one, he's really starting to defeat. Tim Patrick is starting to defeat the one-on-one coverages. He's starting to really become, even though he may not be a one on that particular route, he's a dependable guy. He shows that he has hands. He has the ability to make tough catches. Even seeing guys like Laporta making diving catches, it just shows that there's an attention to detail through and through, man. I mean, I'm watching this and I'm watching the attention to the detail. I always talk about the granularity of the game. I always talk about how if you have to pay attention to the detail of things before you can go out and expect the greatness. And what we see is they're doing all the small things right. and that's leading to any player being able to be impactful. So Tim Patrick, what I like is the fact that he becomes that red zone threat. We saw him kind of have what I would consider, somewhat of a breakout game in terms of letting people be on alert that, listen, this player you got to pay attention to, and seeing him now do this over a consistent period of time. So I like the way in which they brought him along. I like the way in which they've done that without disruption of the offense as a whole. And I like the fact that they found a niche for him to fit into that makes sense without cannibalization of any of the other players and the opportunities that they have as an offense.
And shout out to everybody in the chat again. Make sure you subscribe to Lions Nation Unite on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the good stuff. Go to lionsnationunite.com and get yourself some merch. You see, we got the hats, we got the Sonic and Knuckles hoodie, Packers Suck shirt, anything you need, you can get it at lionsnationunite.com. Easy. What Herman just said about Tim Patrick, I thought was perfect, because you lost Josh Reynolds in the offseason, who was that guy for you. He was that intermediate, bigger body, possession type receiver. And now you have Tim Patrick falling right into that role and doing it very well.
Yeah, I'd argue and go-to situations, he may even be better. Just going back to that Dallas game, that third down to begin the game, you never want to have them score and you don't. And Goff just throws it down there and he makes a play. And that's why you need those type of guys. And, yeah, he also could do exactly what Josh Reynolds did. I love him. I like Tim Patrick before everything, but after, his first touchdown in 3 years, he got two of them things. I mean, I love that just for his personal, everything he's been through the past 3 years, all these injuries. Before that, just being a part of a bad franchise in the Denver Broncos. They're not what they used to be when they had a former ownership. Now they're owned by the Walmart family. They don't care. Just throw money at it. Don't mean he's getting fixed, So now he's in a good spot, good culture, and he's reviving his career.
It's really a great thing to watch. And I see a comment in there from Jay-Z in the Woodward Sports Chat. Shout out Hova. He says, a few receptions about 10 yards deep over the middle for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hey, Chrissy. For Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Tim Patrick saved some drives. And that's something I wanted to ask you about, Herman. You look at the Packers came out there and they said, we're going to try to stop the run. We're going to try to shut down the run. They were crowding the line of scrimmage, and we saw them using the pass game as an extension of the run game, getting these balls out in the flats or short little comeback routes to David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, and players like that. How good of an offense and rhythm do you have to be able to adjust on the fly like that?
You have to just be a prepared offense, and that goes to the preparation. Kudos to Coach Ben Johnson. Kudos to Coach Campbell, because I know he's very involved in what happens offensively, and all the coaches across the board, man, on all sides and all phases. What you do is when you do what we call basically a midstream adjust, that's like you're adjusting on the fly. You're adjusting as things are happening real time. You're not having to wait till halftime. You're not having to wait till everyone comes over to the sidelines. And some coaches can get stuck in a place where they're going to force certain things. And certain things, like with our running game, I would expect them to force it. I would expect them to just say, you know what, we're going to keep running because we know we're going to break through at some point. But when you also say, you know what, we're not going to pull anyone out. What we're going to do is we're going to take and put them in the passing game and get into the short passing. We're going to get them caught up on in situations where they didn't expect us to have Jahmyr Gibbs coming out running angle routes and David Montgomery running routes also over with the linebackers over the middle. And teams weren't prepared for that. But you can't stop the talent. That's basically what they're saying. Listen, you can stop a play. You can stop maybe something you've seen us do in a process, but you can't stop the players, and you can't stop their ability and their willingness to be successful and do whatever we ask them to do and shed the selfish side of it and become unselfish and do whatever it takes to win. When you have it clicking at this level, it is damn near impossible to stop them. I'm just telling you, you might be able to get some places where they don't have as good of a quarter or drive or all that, but you will not shut them down because they don't have a shutdown in them unless they shut themselves down. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm loving about that. And dude, I mean, I'm trying to poke holes at this team because that's what you want to do to see where the weaknesses exist. And right now there are some exposure areas, but then you look at it and say, you know what, something else is going to pop up to try and make up for that somewhere else. And someone's going to go that extra to try and overcome that deficiency that may be lacking in some other area. And when these guys were getting beaten, I'm sure we're going to get to that on the defensive side. I didn't see any heads falling. I didn't see any guys going over and being upset. I didn't see coaches just losing their on the sideline, right? On these guys. It's coming over, man. And they were so supportive. These guys in the wake, they didn't get up holding their heads down and just whatever. It's dust it off, get back to business. Come on.
And CZ, I wanted to ask you about that. You look at what this regime with this
CZ,
coaching staff.
I mean, interrupt you. Hold on a second. I'm a CZ here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There you are. All right. There you are. By yourself. There you go. All right, we're gonna sit back and just let you have it. So sorry about that, Spence.
Oh, okay.
Easy. Go back to where you were. Apologize.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to say you look at the culture that this new regime has established with Brad Holmes, Sheila Ford Hamp at the helm, and Dan Campbell and all them. What was it like with Jim Schwartz and that regime? Because they played their similar style of head, the rah-rah guy, the alpha male type personality, but it seems like Dan Campbell's is much more controlled.
Yeah, I don't need to be. Hello, everybody. Okay, take me off. I don't want to be the only person on the screen. Seriously. No, I actually like Dan Campbell is good people. Like, I mean, I worked with Dan when he played with us, but he could just tell he's really good people. Love Coach Schwartz. I think one of the big things with that regime was we had a lot of money tied up in Stafford and Calvin and Sue. And it kind of made it to where there started to become, I think, maybe a little bit of an imbalance. And there might be a cat that jumps up behind me here. I can sense there's a cat behind me. But no, I mean, it was really great. It just didn't pan out. Like there were some really important misses and drops in certain games that just kind of took things like this. And we felt like we should have been there. Like I was shocked last year when nobody brought up that regime. Everybody went back to Herman's day and talked about, oh, we haven't done this since 91. We were doing really well under Coach Schwartz and then Coach Caldwell. So, but yeah, you can tell Dan just has everybody on the same page. It's just like a very clean leadership. You know what I mean? I mean, it's hard to explain it any other way.
It truly is. And these guys play hard and easy. I saw you put that in there. I know you want to talk about this because Packers suck. So does their fan base, man. They're being such little babies all over social media. And the guy who seems to get the most slack from all fan bases, whether it be the Vikings or the Rams don't actually have fans, or the Packers, is Kirby Joseph. Easy. Kirby Joseph, that's a clean tackle. That's a clean tackle.
To me. Head to the side to me. But here's all these Packers fans trying to point it out as a dirty play or he does it every single game. This is why I wanted to talk about it because we have Herman Moore on.
Herman's smirking, so he has something to say.
No. Please, by all means, listen. I want Easy to finish and then keep that picture handy because I want to get where we're going with that. So go ahead.
I think it's routine across the league for these guys to tackle the thigh board. If you're a safety, defensive back, if there's a big bruising running back coming down the field or a tight end, that's like a normal play. I feel like that's where they hit them. The only issue with me, and I've heard Dan Campbell say this as well, J.J. Watt now as well, it's to keep the head up. And that's more to protect yourself, even than the other person. But when you keep your head down, you don't see where you're going. And I get injuries have happened, but it's like Shift God says, it's a physical sport. And there's rules in play where you're not supposed to leave your helmet or hit below the knees. You get fined, flagged, and suspended if that stuff happens. That has yet to happen to Kirby Joseph. So it's a complete narrative versus like an actual fact, and that's what pisses me off about it. And it only comes from teams that we beat. But Herman, you're a big man back in your day. Damn there, you could have been a tight end if you put on a couple more Popeyes visits. You could have been there.
Popeye's biscuit away from a tight end.
Popeye's biscuit and a couple Cinnabons. I used to bring those express packs home too, the ones that we didn't sell all the time, man, and they'd be good for like 3-4 days. So I get through them. So I put on my 5,000 calories a day. Oh yeah, but I was burning 10,000, so I was a lean machine. So it didn't matter. I could eat as many calories as I wanted. So let's talk about this real quick because this is something I want us to really pay attention to as a fan base, and also for those. I'll say this right now: that's a Packers player that's making a tackle. That's Jared Goff, that's a Sam Laporta, that's whomever it is, right? What would be your comments on that? Would it be okay? Would it be the same? I come from the place of this, and like I said, I always welcome people to disagree with me. I look at it this way: there's a fairness, there's a sportsmanship, and there's self-preservation that I want both for the tackler and for the player on the offensive side that may have the ball, because you want player safety to be at the apex. You want that to be paramount in the conversation. But when we lean, there's always going to be where we're leaning towards our team. Our team never holds. Our team never has pass interference. Our team never goes in with any nefarious or wanting to hurt anyone and do it. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Everyone does. They want to go out and hopefully knock the hell out of somebody if they could and get away with it. Absolutely, they would. If that's just the nature of it. Officiating is not perfect. And they have to figure out a way and without worrying about the dollars of it and what it will do to the team, they really have to figure out how to balance the utilization of replay, challenging penalties, protecting players and all those things. It's a formula. It's no different. Look, Dan Campbell figured out the Lions. Surely they can figure out a way to perfect what's going on with instant replay, penalties, and the way to be able to challenge and do those things, plus player safety. And that's all. I just temper people on that. And I go, I'm telling you, I'm looking at plays. Lions are holding. They're doing some things. We saw where I think Jordan Love got hit in the head when he threw the ball away. That 100% was a penalty. It didn't get called, right? It would have been first down, and that would have been a significant play for the Packers, which would have led them to ultimately continue to drive and possibly having points on the board. And this is a different ball game. So I'm coming to you from honesty. I'm coming to you from the perspective that what I see, it happens on both sides. You just hope that the officiating does not impact the outcome of the game, because it is far from being perfect. So that's why I don't get in on a lot of those conversations. And I know I'm being long with it a little bit. I don't get in on the conversation a lot when they go, oh, the refs are cheating. I know that's my 30-second thing. Start playing the music. But I'm just saying, let's look at it like this and say, you know what? We're going to win because we expect to win. If we lose because it is an officiating issue, then I think, the league takes that up, the organization takes it up, and it goes where it goes. But it happens across the board.
Apology, and it's really helpful the next day when you
get
that
but
apology.
It happens across the board. I mean, we've seen it. The Lions have had a lot of penalties that could have been called against them. They weren't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could have been significant. Same happens with us. So I try not to get into that. But when you call a player dirty, now you're challenging a player's character. Now you're stepping over because that's something you don't know. Yeah. That's subject. That's you're being subjective.
How do I put pictures
that's
in
what
here?
I would put back.
I just shared the link.
You just gotta share your screen.
Yeah. So close all those other weird stuff you got.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
This is Leia, by the way. She's
text it to me.
Old. She's 18.
Text me the link.
Hey, Leia. What's good, Leia? Hey, can I do something real quick? Because you know me, man. This is the way I am. I just always like to go through, and I have to say what up, man, to people, because that's just who I am. So you guys have to bear with me. And anybody doesn't like it, just you have to deal with it. Marker 301, we already said that. Detroit Grit. Mofo Jimbo, hey, welcome. Keitho, always a pleasure, man, seeing you on here. Kurt already had what's up to you. Detroit Grit. Lisa, we always appreciate you coming in. Let's see what else we got on here, man. ARF, appreciate you coming on. Devin. Let's see, Mega Hustler 313 Road. Okay, I got you. We got Danny G, K Ain't Press, always showing up, showing out, and always Shift God OTC. Appreciate you jumping on, Jay-Z, as well. So I just want to make sure I hit those up. Dr. Detroit, Danny G. Yeah, man, we appreciate you all coming on here and being a part of our feed here. So go ahead, everybody.
Questions too.
Yeah, appreciate everyone. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, smash the like button. It truly means more than you know. Help support Lions Nation Unite. You can go lionsnationunite.com. We're all rocking the merch. You got to get some of this merch. I'm telling you, this is my favorite shirt.
Nice,
ever.
Man. I actually like that.
I like it a lot. This is my favorite shirt ever. The Packers suck shirt. You can get. We got Minnesota. We got Chicago. We got the King of the North shirt. You see the hats, the Sonic and Knuckles graphic tees.
I'm not going to lie. While I was watching the game, I'm just like, okay, Sonic won, Knuckles won. Okay, we're good. Like, all right, everybody.
It's so great. It's so great.
Do you know? Sorry.
No, it
Lions
was
were defeated when Sonic and Knuckles scored a touchdown each. Just saying.
Oh, okay.
11-0.
What's up, Rusty?
So our next watch party is not going to be. It'll be in January, more than likely, for the playoffs.
Y'all got to come hang out with us, man. I'm telling you, for those of you who didn't get a chance, I know we were rushing and doing a little bit, but we still had a really good turnout. Everyone who came out that made it happen. We had a really great VIP experience in the beginning as well. So thank you for that. But man, the Imagine Theater hooked us up, and having us have our event, we basically, it became our own place, man. And we had the game on, and we're going to do that again in the playoffs. So I'm encouraging you. I'm telling you, bring your gear, come out and have fun. It's going to be off the chain. Beautiful, beautiful setup for us, and it feels right. I'm telling you, I if I could go watch every game in that environment every week, I would leave my home to go do that. It's pretty sweet. IMAX.
Well, here I have to share one thing for that, because it forgive the color, because I didn't really get a chance to deal with the color. But here, where is it? Where is that screen? A window, Chrissy. What the?
Oh,
Bang.
that's
Herman,
sweet.
what was that like? Herman, what was that like? Because I came out and Herman was like talking to fans, and I was like, Herman, you need to come in here right now.
We had mics, we had everything. I'm just telling you, it was the environment. I didn't think it was gonna. I didn't know what to expect. I've been to some where we've done them at other locations and stuff, but I'm telling you, this is hands down that's the way to go. So we're gonna do it again, and I'm telling you, if you're gonna be in town and you're gonna be there, you got to come roll with us. And I guarantee you will have fun.
That's so sweet. That's such a cool picture. Shout out to everybody at the Imagine Theaters for hooking up.
Still play.
Yeah,
I look like I still play there. Hey, true story on this one, man. I actually went in because I played in a time where we had it was after Polaroid, so don't nobody start throwing shade and game and fun stuff in there. But we didn't have the digital high quality, 4K, 8K. We didn't have all that, right? So we had to deal with some pixelation and whatever. So I was like, listen, man, I'm gonna keep my photos on point. So I went in 2018 or 1918 or something like that, and I shot those photos because I had my helmet, I had my shoulder pads, my jersey. I took my own pictures, man. Update my pictures. So I took a little library so that way. And I was looking at that, going, you know what? That's not a long time ago. That's not a long time ago, right there. I should have went out there and did a little TO marketing and publicity, man, and went back and ran me a couple of red zone fade routes or something, man. Tim Patrick and I, man, come on.
I was gonna say, it reminds me of those commercials.
Calvin and Roy, we bring them all back. Come on.
It reminds me of those commercials where Dan Marino's suiting up for the Dolphins still, and Emmitt Smith running the ball for the Cowboys still.
Oh yeah, we would do a lot better. Trust me, man. I mean, I'm not gonna let myself just fall off the face of the earth like that. No.
And did something that we thought was going to fall off the face of the earth without DJ Reader, without Anzalone, without Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maben. This linebacking core has been decimated by injury. You have a guy in Quan Alexander who was added to this team last week, and he was starting for you on Thursday. How does that work? How can a guy do that, Herman?
Well, it goes back to what we talked about before. Alexander is able to come in and take over that role because they've been decimated at linebacker and be able to plug in because he's watched the film. They already know, or when they got him, I'm sure he understood certain parts of their system that they could do. And then they're coming in and saying, only do these things. And you limit it. I'm telling you, it used to be, I've gone, when I went out to the Giants and they throw a whole book at you. When we brought players in, you give them so much information, it's overwhelmed. They're playing at a slow speed. They're playing at a speed that's less than your practice squad guys or guys that you can just go in and get in that know absolutely nothing because they can't use their talent at their fullest because you can't operate it and do things that you don't know. They're asking them to do very specific roles. It is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. And it's probably something that's going to shock the rest of the coaching world because they don't realize how simple this was to do and they could have done it all along. I will say this, and I want to give a shout out to Jack Campbell because let me tell you something, man. This is a guy that, we hadn't seen a ton and he's been making plays quiet over the last couple years. But if you have paid attention really to where they are using him and the way he's kind of being moved around, he's been asked to do pass protection. Pass defense. He's coming up on the line on blitz. He's having to cover and do all these things, man. It's like, and he's being solid. Look at how many plays he's around. He's playing sideline to sideline. He's a big player. He's a big guy. And to see what he's doing and so quietly doing it, he's been kind of an unsung hero, in my opinion, in terms of what he's been able to do at the linebacking position defensively. So I wanted to give a shout out to him because he's going to sneak up on teams and he's going to sneak up on his league, and he's going to be one of those really dominant players that people are going to talk about and become that next superstar. There's that Kings of the North, like easy.
And I just wanted to point out, Herm, it says you still look like you got 10 to 15 snaps.
Red zone and third down. I don't even care if they know I'm coming. I don't even know if they care that they know I'm coming in just for a 5-yard hitch or over the middle.
Herm?
Say it again.
You got the same ups?
I could touch the bottom of the goalpost.
Oh, still? Can you come down without hurting yourself?
Oh, come on, now. Come on. Hey, don't make me have to go out here and start putting videos together. I'll go out there and run
roll an ankle or anything.
Nah.
True story.
I will say this: pulling the hamstring wouldn't be out of the question because that's muscle twitch.
True story though. Herman does not dish out the term athlete to people lightly. He makes you really earn that. And I think it was a couple of years ago. I had my elementary age daughter record me sprinting because Herman did not believe that I could actually run. And since then, I've compiled enough evidence in different sports that he officially gave me the moniker. I'm considered an athlete.
Yeah, you're an athlete. You surprised me. I was one of those that would have gotten toasted because I didn't I would have underestimated you. But I've learned not to do that in my life. I just need validation.
Because I didn't play in college. I didn't play anything in college. Yeah, I didn't play anything in college. So if you're a pro though, it was funny because whenever we would be around the guys and it'd be like, where did you play a sport? And you'd be like, yeah, I did, volleyball, basketball, track, tennis. And they'd be like, oh, where'd you play? I'm like, oh, in high school. And they're like, oh. Like that wasn't real.
Okay. Hey, Herman.
So I just got used to saying like, I didn't really play. I was just playing in high school.
I'm just saying I had 4 sacks in the first half against New Haven my senior year when I was all county. I was a menace out there, looking like little Ndamukong Suh. But
I also played powder puff football.
My defense.
I did this.
My defenses were insane in powder puff football. I had those girls working out there. I didn't let up a point. Junior or senior year, my defenses were lights out. But we look at what the Lions did on Thursday, beating the Packers. Packers suck, by the way. Green Bay's not a real place. Go shop right now at LionsNationUnite.com. But Herman, they beat the Packers 2-0 against the Packers on the year. You got a chance to go 2-0 against the Bears and the Vikings coming down the stretch here. Could sweep the NFC North. How important is that? I know we're looking at the NFC as a whole now. We're looking at the Super Bowl as our goals. But dominating the North still feels good for these Lions, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm trying my best. Brian, man, you got me on that one. Hey, I was gonna sit there and say, man, hey, I'm going easy throwing back the tequila. Easy throwing back the tequila, man. He got the old school 7-Eleven thing just going over there. He's just like, man, I'm getting a big gulp glass.
Anybody else use Slurpees when they were younger? Slurpees? Anybody? Yeah. That was like a big thing.
Yeah, used to do that.
Slurpee runs.
So I put it like this, man. I think when you sweep the division, it sends a message. Make sure you take that and put that on your lapel right there too. If you sweep, if the Lions are able to sweep the division, it sends a strong message. It sends a message that not only, like we're saying, they're the kings of the North, they own the division. It used to be one that we talked about in our days where you want to really kind of split your home games. You want to win all your home games, no matter who you're playing, and you want to split on the road. You get 12-4. That's going to put you in a dominant position every year. You look at Mike Tomlin, you see the graphics that they throw up about Pittsburgh and the streak that they have of being winning seasons. I think 20 winning seasons or 20 plus, something like that. I mean, that's a phenomenal feat. You think about it, teams, that's just tough to do. But when you can sweep your division, that's even bigger, because these are teams that are going to know you the best. They're gonna know you because they play you twice. And then because you're playing inside the division, there's some consistency in things that are done because you build your team to handle your division. And because you're going to play, 7 of those games. And it becomes a time where I think where teams like the Lions are understanding, they're breaking down it piece by piece, and they're breaking down how to win and how to strategize even your schedule piece by piece. And that's, again, it goes back to the details of it. It's big when you can do that, though.
It's huge. It's huge. And you see the banner there at the bottom. Use Saturday swag for 10% off your order at LionsNationUnite.com. You can get the Packers Suck shirt, you get the King of the North shirt. You see the hats, got the Sonic and Knuckles hoodie. If you want the best swag, just go to LionsNationUnite.com and you can get 10% off using promo code Saturday swag.
The whole order. I put the whole order in there.
The whole order.
Shout out to Spenny and Easy, because our Facebook is, are we over 10K now, you guys?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You guys have just made that one blow up.
I don't even know.
Us.
We just got the magic dust. I feel like, I don't know. We're just Facebook savants, I guess.
We're up to 12,000.
Let's go.
We passed 10,000 and just moved all the way up to 12.
I love it.
Let's go. And shout out to everybody on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter that's watching us. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, follow us on all social media platforms. Lion Nation Unite. CZ and Herman birthed this. They invited the Woodward heavyweights to come in here and be idiots. So help us help you, man. We're bringing great content. And Easy, Herman talking about dominating the North. And you look at this Packers domination. It doesn't just start with Dan Campbell. The Lions have a winning record over the Green Bay Packers in the last 10 years. 10 years.
I know I was muted. I apologize. Growing up, my entire life, up until 2019, they talked about how the Lions hadn't won in Lambeau. It was just like, in my head, going to Lambeau, I just canceled out the win. Just growing up, I was raised that way. Not by my parents, obviously, Lions fans and whatnot, my grandmother, my uncle, but by the media. But it's not the case anymore. They're not the big bad bullies. Nobody's scared of them. And now they're getting punked out. And that's where their fan base is crashing out right now. 2 consecutive days. It's a war zone if you go on social media right now. Packers fans they're not having it.
It's not just the fans.
It's
the head coach.
It's the coach. I had Christian Watson's dad taking shots at me last night. And I respect him, by the way. I got to respect everything he did. He tried throwing his face that he was in the NFL. I was like, I didn't know that. So I looked it up. I was like,
who?
Brother, you played 6 games, brother. I was like, what are we doing? But they're all crashing out, man. They're on the attack. And it's because that's all they can do. That's all they can do, because Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions are taking it to them time and time.
I think there's an envy there. I think there's an envy, man, just really that's happening with Coach Campbell, because he's getting so much love and praise. It used to be Belichick's, it used to be Sean Payton and some of the others. And, there was this coaching tree, or these historic head coaches that people would always talk about. And then you got these young guns, and you got some of these other ones that are coming in. They took over legacies. They took over Super Bowl quality teams. They took over organizations that had history of having a certain culture that was dedicated to winning. And now you hear about who was supposed to be kind of near the middle to the bottom of the NFL. They brought in a coach that everyone laughed at. They brought in a coach that people thought was on his way out, because the early part of his career, it was a building process. And they thought that, here we go again, after seeing, you leave Coach Schwartz, you leave Coach Caldwell, and then all of a sudden you're going here after what you saw happen, before those other 2 coaches came. It was just an organization that was on fire. And these guys see in such a short period of time how a coach has gone in and an organization has gone in and completely revamped, has changed. And now they become not just the darlings of the NFL, but the country in terms of professional football. But also when you look at players wanting to go to a place that they say is ideal for them to be able to win, thrive, survive, and be their best, they point to Detroit. When coaches look on the high school level, and I'm just saying, I'm gonna go just for a second here, start playing music. On the high school level and the college level, they're looking at it going, go look at what they're doing over there. And the envious ones are his counterparts in the NFL. They're going to smile and go, yeah, we like Dan, he's good. But behind their back, they're going, they're envious. I'm telling you, they have to be. And if they're not, they should be. I would be. Because I'm like, damn, why can't I get my team? Why can't I get the love and the players feeling like they're feeling like that? Go start polling the players, right? Don't use my words. Go ask those other players right now. If you could play for any team, and you know how they do it anonymous, all right, we don't even have to put you. We'll make sure we don't let your employer know that you're the one speaking on record. Which team would you want to go play for? Who is the coach that you look at and say that's the coaching style that you like? And which are the organization leaders and owners that you now would love to be yours? They're going to point to the Detroit Lions. Period.
Yeah.
Cut it, clip. That's going to go viral for sure. I already know. Beautifully done. Beautifully said, Herman. And it's 100% correct. And shout out to everybody in the chat thread. Everybody on watching on Facebook, on YouTube. We got see Super Bowl Cartier. We got Super Bowl Wilson was in there. Donkey Kong, Kenneth Matthews, Joseph C. Shout out to everybody in the chat showing love. I see D Brown saying he finally got to catch the show live. Appreciate you all joining. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. It really helps more than you know. And I do want to talk about this a little bit. We had fun. Packers suck. Go get your shirt, LionsNationUnite.com. Use Saturday swag for 10% off your order. But, Herman, next week, you got 10 days rest. You got the MVP hopeful for the number one seed in the AFC, Buffalo Bills coming into town. What do you got to do to prepare for a guy like Josh Allen and that Buffalo Bills team that is rolling right now?
Right now, it's going to be all mental. They're going to clean up the mistakes. They're going to clean up the penalties that we saw that, Lions have been really blessed not to have a ton of those other than the pass interferences. They're going to go in and they're going to make sure they tell the players to get their rest. They're going to tell them to stay mentally dialed in and prepared, because in this time period, you can get lost because you haven't had that breather. We all know when you go on vacation, it's hard to get back started up again. So he's going to make sure that they are staying connected. But right now, there's not a whole lot that you do other than watch film and prepare, and you go over the details and you try and get your players back to being as healthy as you can get them. That's it. So that's what I know. If I'm a coach, and I'm pretty sure this is the mentality of Coach Campbell and his team and his staff is to just keep the players dialed in and continue to motivate them and ensure them that they're on the right path. They know that. And right now, it's like anything else. No one wants to break what is happening, and no one wants to be the cause for that. So you've built the culture the right way. You have the players dialed in the right way, and now it's all about the finish. So I would expect this team to just go in and finish. Buffalo's not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be probably their toughest game to task right now because of the dynamics that they get with the quarterback. So with Josh Allen, so we'll see.
Yeah, this is Yoda in the chat right now. He wants some rings.
We're gonna put a ring on it pretty soon. Just you wait. We're gonna put a ring on it pretty soon. And
can I say real quick?
Come on,
I just want to get this out the way. I had to wake up Thursday morning to Matt Patricia on my TV talking about the Detroit Lions. If there's one man on this earth that shouldn't be allowed to talk Detroit Lions or praise the Detroit Lions, it's that.
Keep my team's name out your mouth.
I could not believe I was
talking about Will Smith.
That win, I knew
oh
that
my
win
goodness,
so bad. That win. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. I saw someone typing about it. That was disgusting. NFL Network should be ashamed of themselves.
We need Nate Burleson to do the Will Smith to Matt Patricia the next time he tries to talk about the Lions.
Oh man.
Okay, everybody calm down. Let's have some food. No.
Rod Marinelli. I love Coach.
What did you say, CZ?
Huh?
But what are you saying?
Oh, they said bring in Rod Marinelli next. I said, Coach Marinelli.
Listen, man, let me tell you this. And if that's the case, you might as well go on down the wheel, man, and bring them all back. We got a whole long list of ones they can bring back that were dumpster fires, right? But I'm gonna say this: it is what it is, dumpster fires, right?
Hey, we were.
No, I'm not. No. I'm not talking about. We've already talked about the coaching staffs and the time periods that weren't. Now, I think we have not. Someone asked me this, and we talked about this. This is important. They said, I was asked in an interview that I did about this team, is this the best Detroit Lions team? And always I'm careful when I say, listen, talent-wise, no, they're not. They're not the most gifted. Are they, in the end, do they have players playing in a certain capacity? Yes. But where this team is the best in Lions history is, one, the way in which it's been assembled. Two, what they're asking those players to do and what they're getting out of those players. Three, the fact that the unselfishness is at the model level. This is a level, if you build a team you want to see. And having them all playing together, this is the best I've ever seen a Detroit Lions team assembled that are playing together and not against each other. Offense is not playing against the defense. There was even bickering that would take place. Our offense against, not our offense, but the offensive side would bicker with the defensive side, and you would say one's weaker and one's stronger. And no, it's not about that. That's not what this is about with this organization, about this team. So this is the most complete team the Lions have ever had, top to bottom, organization, ownership being a pivotal and integral part. The coaches assembling other coaches that are not necessarily their boys as much as they are the ones that are necessary and needed for the position to do the best that they do, and bringing it all together in a consistency no matter where you play a part in that organization. So kudos to them for that. And then that's how you get away from having to compare them to all these other organizations and past players, our era and Barry and all those guys, and Calvin's era and Matthew Stafford. It isn't about that. Everybody's got their own. It is about this. And when they said new Lions, now I understand what they were saying. It's not to push away the other guys. It's not to push away the other legacy that has happened. What it is say, listen, there is a new way in which we're building this that hasn't been done before. And because of that, give us a chance. And that's the passion you see in Dan Campbell when he's doing those early interviews, which some people laugh at. Authentic. Dan Campbell equals authentic. And because of that, the process was trust. People were trusted. They've all bought in. They're one, and you're getting what you're getting, and that is successful results.
And it starts at the top. You see our fearless leader, the Queen of Detroit, Sheila Ford Hamp. She came out when the Lions were 0-8 or whatever it was in Dan Campbell's first season, was told not to do this by her PR staff, was told not to talk to the media about it. Said, no. Gets in front of the camera, gets in front of the microphone, says, these are my guys. Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, these are the guys that are going to right the ship. I believe in them. I have faith in them. And since that day, the Detroit Lions have been the best team in football.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, for them to actually stand behind that is significant. There were two things that I personally said were going to be key to succeeding, and my opinion matters. One was before Dan ever coached a game, can he game manage? Which is interesting because he definitely has a different way to game manage, but it's effective. And then the other one was, would the front office stick with him regardless of what it looked like on the outside? Because there have been too many times that the plug got pulled too early because fans were restless or there was a certain perception. And for that to have happened and to stuck with it, and then for Dan to be able to manage games and honestly to stay consistent with his game management style. And I think the authenticity then brings in your players, because when you have an authentic leader, you're going to end up, what are you guys giggling about? Like, what's in the comments? What is it? Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah. That helps.
No, you're killing it.
But yeah,
no.
That's my thing.
Right,
I mean, the fact that the authenticity was there, and that to me is why players are following him. And whenever they say, we were going to do this, we knew we were going to do this, coach told us before the game, they all buy in, and that's huge. As I'm sure Herman, you can mention, or you can speak to that as well, that when you start to get conflict internally, it shows on the field.
It's like anything else, it spreads. But I will say this, Chrissy, you and I, we talked about this because I would debate and we would talk about these different eras and this is what it was like. And we'd see some overlap from the time you were there to the time I was there, which was a decade before then, and all these things. And I know in my conversations with you, what's been great is that you validated some things, but you've also given me insight as to some other things that obviously as players, we don't get to know that impacts what happens downstairs, what happens in the locker room. And also the players we do confide at certain times, and not to the overly sensitive information, but we confide to our media team because they're the ones out there putting our voice out. They're the ones who are hearing information coming back in that we have to respond to. So we're having that communication, that connectivity, and we're building that bond. So when you used to tell me that, it was amazing to hear the insight that you had and that the knowledge that you had, because I would have never thought the people upstairs in the office that weren't there, they weren't as in tune. But as you mentioned, that was a great thing to hear. And I just think that I'm looking at all this stuff, and I'm gonna go and see why they're crashing out over there with the Packer base, man. But they have to recognize this: the Lions are a better team. Period. I mean, don't get mad because they lost. Don't blame referees. Coach, don't come out and start talking about that there was some disadvantage or whatever happened. He knows, just like I told you before. If you're relying on officiating to be the win and loss of your team, then you're a broken coach. You're a broken organization, because that's something you can't control. If you want to control something, control the efforts of your team, control where they made mistakes and they allowed the Lions to go down. The referees didn't say, hey, everybody sit your ass down and we're going to let the Lions go out here and score and make all these points and do all these other things. And no, it doesn't work that way. They make calls on both sides that are good. They make calls that are bad for both. That's a wash. You got to let that be a wash. And you have to look at it and just say, you know what? Our team got beat by the more prepared team, the better team, the more disciplined team, and the team that played more together. And the fan base, you got to swallow your pride. I hate to say this, or swallow the Lions' pride, right? If you're Packers fans or you're whatever, listen, you're going to have to just live with it. I'm sorry, man.
Puns, by the way, he's a big pun.
No,
guy.
I'm just saying they got to just live with it, because come on, you look like sore losers when you do that. You look like you don't have a chance other than someone else making you the favorable one. The Lions aren't looking for that. You go find a clip in here where Dan Campbell says, "Oh, you know what? Referees kept us from winning today." Or you get in there and see where a player is saying, okay, the officials, did us a bad solid with this organization. You haven't seen it. They're not making excuses. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. If you're going to do something about it, beat them. Beat them. That's all it is.
Facts.
Put in the work.
It reminds me when we were bad. And that's how I know they're crashing out. That's how I know things are bad over there. And by the way, Jahmyr Gibbs gave you our plays and protections. You still couldn't beat us.
Couldn't
18 players in the IR with our plays. Punks.
Packers suck.
Jinx.
Go buy your swag now from LionsNationUnite.com. Use code Saturday Swag to get 10% off your order. Before we do get out of here, Herman, you mentioned it, the authenticity of Dan Campbell. I did want to get your thoughts on this, because some people didn't really know what to think of it at first when he is going to the podium and calling guys out, holding guys accountable, saying Jameson Williams might never be the ultimate hands guy with the hands out there making plays, saying these guys need to be better. His team learns from that. They feed off of that, and they go out there and they produce. Shout out to CC.
I'll say this about Dan Campbell's authenticity. You can't tell people what they want to hear and make them better. You got to tell them what they can use. And he's the type of coach that will give you what you need. His coaches are echoing that, because they now have said, this is the way in which we're going to grow this team. We're going to grow their confidence. We're going to support them, but we're going to do it on the right way. And we don't have to sit here and play favorites. We don't have to sit here and cater to certain attitudes and players. If you don't fit the culture, you don't fit the attitude, and your attitude doesn't fit, get out. Go somewhere else, because you know what? We'll find someone that will come in and we will make sure they understand what is expected out of them. And then in return, what you're going to get from us is authenticity. I will be the same today during a win. I will be the same during a loss. I will be here. And when I say my door is open, my door is open. When I say you can come in and have your authentic voice back to me, you can have your voice back to me. It has not existed. Head coaches have been egotistical, and they've had attitude, and they've had everything begin and ends with me. Look at the ones who wanted to have complete reign and control over the organization and decisions made at the organization's level. Forget about the locker room. They want power. Dan Campbell said, I want wins. I want some dogs. I want some players that's going to come out here and ride and die with each other, win and lose together. That's what I want. I want my focus to be here on my team and on plays and winning and bringing championships. Not sitting here and saying, look at me and look at how much I can run and look how smart I am and how much I can oversee. That's a distraction. That's a distraction. Brad Holmes doing that. He's got that covered. So that's why you see they've divided the power, right? It's a separation, right, of power. You got the coach that's supposed to be in charge of the players and the winning, and then you got Brad Holmes and the others upstairs that are supposed to be in charge of making sure we run a tight ship. And then you got Sheila Hemp Ford that's sitting there going, you know what? I'm going to be the one that's going to take responsibility and accountability for everything that happens top down. You guys, Dan, are going to be responsible for everything that happens bottom up. And in the middle, you got Brad Holmes that's sitting there. He's coordinating between the two. It's
amazing.
They used to say business couldn't exist. You know, they used to say business couldn't exist in the NFL. They're using a business model.
Mm-hmm.
But you brought in people who know what they know their thing. Dan knows how to work with the players and his coaches and do things on the field. Brad Holmes knows how to run that part of the organization. Sheila Hemp Ford knows how to do all the administrative and the management stuff with her team and whoever she puts in there. I don't care if it's Spellman as an advisor. I don't care if she's talking to her family or whoever, other business people, Rod Wood, doesn't matter. Those are the people that are managing that piece. Accountability across the board.
Well, it's accountability, but then you also have to have the right balance, because I think when you try to do something black and white, it doesn't work. Like, for example, if you say, this is coach's decision, I don't get into coach's decision, or this is that. What are we giggling at now?
You said black and white, and he just said, whoa.
I do.
Black and white. Herman, what do you think, black or white?
On what?
I don't know. I'm just.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
They were saying when you're saying black and white,
I
you
know.
got, black and white, going on over here. But, we are a very diverse Lions Nation.
Diverse. But anyway, there's obviously a good balance, and we're giggling.
Lions Nation is a nation for all.
A nation for all.
I lost it. It's gone. My thought is over there.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Shout out to everybody in the chat on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. Smashing the like button. You see A2. You got Joseph C. Kurt Steele, our guy. A member of Lions Nation Unite himself. Super Bowl Cartier. Kenneth Matthews. Mile Marker. And I saw the question in there from I forget who it was. Let me try to find it. D. Brown. He asked if we could get a prediction for the scores for Buffalo. You got to wait for that, D. Brown. We got a whole week. Make sure you tune in. Herman and Lomas. Herman Lowe is going to be on later in the week. They're going to be talking a lot about the Buffalo game. Shout out to our guy in the chat. We love you too, man. Lions Nation Unite. It's a great week to be a Lions fan because the Packers suck. So if you want some great swag, go to lionsnationunite.com. Use code Saturday Swag for 10% off your order. This is Lions Nation Unite. I'm Spencer Axter. He's Easy, the Wilbur Heavyweights. And, of course, Herman and CZ, the founders, the brain trust of Lions Nation Unite. We appreciate you all for joining us. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. Stay tuned throughout the week. We're going to have a lot coming up about the Buffalo Bills game up. It's a huge game. MVP could be on the line. So make sure you stay tuned. Appreciate you tapping in. We'll see you guys later in the week. Peace.
Peace out.